Hi everyone, and welcome back to the table. If you haven't noticed, our YouTube channel reached 100 subscribers, so that has to be celebrated. But how to celebrate something like 100 subscribers, make a special out of all the videos we've done, which is like 5. So I decided what else could be better than me building a plain old 100 subscriber celebratory rocket. So let's get right into it. So this is actually just a kit from Klima named Altair, or however you would pronounce that, just to make it a little bit easier on me and us and everyone. What is special about this thing? It's gonna be a long boy. Oh god, I've actually never tried out how long this thing actually is. It's gonna be awesome. And most importantly, it flies on only one single engine. So I can just start it in front of my house, which is awesome. Also, it comes with a few funky stickers. We'll see if we will use them later. What the? So, let's just jump right into it. Good old straightforward rocket build. So we're gonna start with the motor section. We will go on to the baffle. This one actually has a built-in wooden baffle, so the parachute doesn't get burned, which is nice. And put it all together, glue on the fins, and well, that's basically it. Let's do this. Fins, don't put them. Strings, don't put them. More strings, don't put them either. The parachute, we'll get that one later. So what we're left off is everything we need for the engine. If you've never seen one of these engine mounts, basically it's a cardboard tube, then a metal rod that goes on like this. In the top of the engine mount there is this ring, and then these spacer rings that will actually make the mount the size of the inside of the tube you want to mount it to. This metal rod, by the way, is for holding the engine in when the ejection charge blows. Let's add a little bit of glue. The good thing is you can't really add too much glue. It's a very thick boy, so we don't really worry about weight anyway. Where's the trash can once you need it in a while? The nice thing about wood glue like this is that you can just use your finger to smush it into those grooves. And when your finger looks very shitty, just go with a trash can and rub it. And soon enough your fingers look like new. They actually feel kind of moistened, which is nice. So you don't need your moisturizer cream or stuff anymore. Just rub yourself with wood glue. So after adding far too much glue and adding in the end stop with far too much glue, the instructions want us to put the motor mount right into the body tube. I will postpone that for later, when the glue is at least slightly dried so it doesn't wobble all the way around. And we will jump over to the next part, which is the baffle. I don't know if Klima came up with that themselves or if they nicked the idea, but I really love these baffles on the latest model from Klima. Usually what you do is you take some sheet of fireproof material, you put it between the engine mount and the actual parachute. So when the ejection charge of the motor fires, it doesn't burn the parachute alive. The baffle does the exact same job. It is mounted inside of one of these tubes, and what it does is slow down the hot gases coming from the rocket motor's ejection charge in a way so it comes out of the top quite cool and quite slow, so it doesn't damage your parachute. I just like it. So what you do is you get your good old glue and you add some glue in the nicks. 2 little glue is for wussies, and then you just throw these little parts in there. Done. You have a baffle. Next up, you take your little tube that fits perfectly into the body tubes.
I don't know what this is, but it's kind of hot.
And you throw the baffle inside there, including some glue. So let's do that too. Shooby-doo. Come on, fit in there, you little rascal. Often you get it in a lot easier when you twist it a little bit while pushing it in. So now that we wait for the glue to dry, let's talk about this little string over here. This is Kevlar, exactly like what you would get in, well, a Kevlar vest that is actually bulletproof. It is a very strong material, plus it's fireproof. So it's the perfect stuff to make a string out of close to where the hot gases come out. The baffle also has this little sidewards hole in it to connect the Kevlar string to the baffle. So let's do that. We take our Kevlar string and put it through the hole. Let's give it some slack, and on the other side, knot a little noose. And then we just take the other end of the string and we pull it through the noose. And then we're already on to the fins. There's 4 of them. They have a very funky shape and are very square. You could sand them very smooth and very pointy, but this is a little bit of a speed build, so we're not gonna do that. Instead, we're just gonna round them off a little bit. One.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
4. There we go. So next up, let's start to prepare the tip.
Just the tip.
There's this, which still has some plastic in it, so let's... There we go. So often you connect all the strings of the parachute and stuff to the tip itself. In this case, the tip will be up here, and the baffle that holds the other end of the string will be down here. That's a lot of string. So instead, we will take this plate and this little hoop, and we mount them together in the bottom of this tube. So we take our little hoop screw, which I don't know if it's called like that, but I love the word. Put on a plate, we put on the wood, put it on the other plate, and the nut. Then we realize that we don't have the proper tool to fasten that nut. Nothing that tweezers can't fix. There we go. And last but not least, we will have to glue it in here. And now we have to wait till that is dried as well. So let's wait. Nah, this is boring. Let's just keep going. We take the motor mount, which is slightly dry, which is good enough for us. And this little bugger needs to go in here now. It's quite a tight fit, but it will be alright. So step 1, add too much glue. And this one is going to be a little bit different than last time's, because when this thing is in there a little bit, add even more glue for the lower plate to be glued somewhere. Well, it always is extremely messy if you ask me, but the messier, the merrier. Ta-da! Our motor mount is in. So we take the other side of our lower body tube, and well, that's where the baffle goes. Same old game, a lot of glue. It really looks like something in there that I do not want to make a comparison with.
Don't let your kids watch it!
And then the next step would be gluing the middle body tube on top of that. So now we just put the Kevlar string through the middle body tube, and well, glue! Whee! Put glue all over the other side of the baffle, and then put on this body tube. And there's a lot of glue coming out, which we will promptly dispose of. Beautiful. Now for a change, let's jump over to the parachute until all that glue is dried a little bit. There's different kinds of parachutes. This one comes printed on a big piece of foil, and we need to cut it out. This is gonna take all day. Skip! Finally, took far longer than I wanted, but it's cut out, and I also took the liberty to get myself some glue. No, and to connect on the strings through the little holes. So let's finish this stringy business. What is left is this rubber string. Boink. It's called a shock cord. It literally does what the name says. It takes shock. The shock in this case will be once when the parachute deployment charge fires, and when the parachute actually opens, it also pulls very sudden and very strong in the worst cases. Find our 3 strings, and now we do what we call a pro gamer move. And there we go, we have a beautiful knot holding the parachute. If that was too fast for you, well, sucks. Next, our shock cord goes through our yet to be connected hoop screw, and about in the middle of the string we will just slightly fix it with a double knot. There we go. And last but not least, we need to connect it to the Kevlar string. Ta-da! And this is the whole string assembly. In the end, we will have the parachute right underneath it, the upper part that is right now dangling there, and then on the very bottom, well, the bottom. So this is going to be a little bit more interesting because this is plastic, this is paper, and this is wood glue. Three things do not go well together. So for this special occasion, we're going to use 2-component epoxy glue, which is a type of glue that once it is solid, it never leaves. It's like that friend you had from university that just wanted to share the room for one night, and then he's still there after
that's not
3
normal, man.
decades, and suddenly he's your husband. It's
Where are your parents?
2-component glue. That stuff never fails to amaze. And most importantly, it doesn't care if it's wood, paper, plastic, or your feet, it will glue them to components. One is the hardener, one is the resin, and we probably mix them 50-50. Now, we take epoxy and very good amount onto the nose cone, and let's fit it in there. Looking good, and I only got moderate amounts of that glue on my fingers, so I will only stick slightly to everything. I think we waited enough on the glue on this part, so we will now fit it into the upper two. Turn back to our good old friend, the wood glue. Get rid of that excess glue. Now we can have a little fun with the parachute. So here is how I like to fold these little parachutes. I fold them in the middle, again in the middle again. I fold them in the middle again. I fold them in the middle again. Then I make it a little Z. We have about 500 meters of tube, so we don't even have to do that. Then I roll up the string. Well, now it's just a question of grabbing it all and shoving it in there. The engineers among you might have noticed we're still missing the fins. Yes, indeed we are. So that's what we're going to do now. We start off with a line of glue every one of these slots. Then we take the fins themselves and add some glue to the tip. And you fit the fin in there, give it a little wiggle.
Wiggle it, wiggle it.
That's one fin. And number 4. And make sure they are in right angles. Now all that is left is giving this little bad boy a proper paint job. Auf geht's in die freie Natur. Ain't she a beauty? But it's missing one more very important thing right here. Perfect. Time to get to the launch platform. I have to be honest, I have felt less conspicuous than walking around with a rocket strapped to my back. But the problem is, the rocket keeps getting stuck on branches. Here she is, in all her beauty, out here in the sun. I put in the motor, and it's time to put her on the launch ramp. It's funny, she's nearly as tall as the launch ray itself. Anyway, there's a low in the wind. Let's let her rip. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and there's the parachute. Beautiful. And of course now there's a big wind gust. That thing is traveling. And there she goes. What can I say, fellas? 100 subs. Thank you very, very much for watching. Like, literally, this whole project Atmoventus is only funded by my and Dennis' motivation to actually do this. And you are being a very big part of that motivation. Because we're seeing that not only we enjoy making these things, but also you enjoy these things. And 2021, I tell you, is going to be a big year. There's a lot of launches, there's a lot of tech. We're finally getting done and out on the field. You'll definitely have a great time with us. So thank you for watching. Until the next time. Bye bye. Still feeling very conspicuous though for some reason.